Hello there. Welcome to the Coach Craig Kenneth Show. I am your host, Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm your co-host, Coach Victoria.
And this is a caller-driven show where we talk about all the things going on in your life. Could be mental health issues, breakup issues, problems with your boss, co-workers.
Co-host.
And so today we've got an interesting story. We have someone on the line with us. We're going to call him Jefferson. And Jefferson, he's got a story that he wants to share. He was really feeling a strong connection to this woman that he was dating, and then she kind of leaves him out of nowhere. And when that happens, it's devastating.
Right. And in the story, it has a lot to do with timing. So that will be a theme that pops up.
Jefferson, can you hear us?
I can. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. Okay. How old are you?
I am 25.
Okay. And tell us about what's going on and how we can help you.
Okay, so this all starts right after I graduated college. I was 22 at the time.
Okay.
I did a study abroad program right after graduation in the summer of 2022 and met this girl. And over the course of this trip, we were in Europe together and we fell in love pretty quickly and intensely.
And how long were you together with her?
In Europe, we were together about a month.
Okay, and that's where you fell in love over the month?
Correct. Although I would say it was more infatuation at that time. Obviously, that's not enough time to build something stable. Over the course of the rest of the year, I'd say is when we developed like a real stable kind of love.
Okay, so what happened after that month? You went back home and it was long distance?
Right. So we both stayed in Europe until August, but we were separate. I was with my family, she was with friends. So we got back to the States in August. So from May to August is the general timeline. And then when we got back to
from May to August, you were long distance?
Well, we were just in Europe together, just still talking, but we hadn't started an official relationship. We were just kind of, it was
But
just
you
the
were
very
seeing
beginning
each other
stages.
physically?
Only when we got back to the States in August, because we were separate after the study abroad program ended.
Okay, so there was 4 months where you were talking and then you started seeing her again physically. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then how often were you guys seeing each other?
I would say probably at least once a week. We were from different cities, so we obviously moved back home after college. We were about an hour and a half away from each other at the time for the rest of the year.
Okay, so for about 4 months, you were seeing each other once a week or so.
Correct.
Okay, and the connection obviously started to build, and you got really close.
Yes, yeah, we had been, I would say, fully in love before I ended up moving away in December to start my new job.
Okay, but you still weren't exclusive, even though you were in love, right?
I would say we were exclusive, but we hadn't given each other that official boyfriend-girlfriend label yet. So I don't know how much that nuance matters, but that's where we were.
Okay. Well, it sounded like it might have been part of the story or part of the problem.
Certainly, yeah, I think that is where the main issue stems from. And part of why I never gave us that label is because I got the job in October and I knew I'd be moving away. So I didn't know how to feel about committing to something so serious while I would just be increasing the distance between us. We didn't know how that would work.
Okay. All right. So tell us more about how the story went. You guys were seeing each other through January or December?
December, yeah.
Okay, and then you moved.
Yeah, so I moved and she came with me that first weekend to help me move in. So like she saw me and we were kind of treating that as us like our final goodbye. That's what we thought it was going to be at the time. So it was like, okay, this is like officially us breaking up as I'm starting this new life and you're kind of staying in your city pursuing your new life as well after college.
What were her thoughts on that? Did she seem sad? Did it sound like she was resisting it?
Yeah, definitely resistant. We were both very sad. It was a super tearful goodbye when she finally left. But looking back, we were just kind of being over dramatic in the moment because we still stayed in communication and never stopped from that point on. So nothing really changed.
And when you say that she was resisting it, what did she say? Do you think she would see it as you had ended things with her?
Yeah, I think she would say that it was more me pulling away because it was just too overwhelming for me to start a new relationship and also moving to a city I didn't know anyone, starting a new job. And it was basically this brand new chapter of my life. And I just couldn't handle that many things at once.
I wonder if mentally she kind of checked out in a way that it's like once you kind of think, okay, well, this is going to be the end, and you've mentally prepared for that and emotionally prepared for letting go, then you kind of feel like, okay, at this point, I'm going to kind of, you know, move forward. And so someone might not tell you that, but she might have been feeling like this isn't going to work out. He said he doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to do long distance. I have to let this go.
I think that ended up being the case later down the line. I don't think that was true in that moment because like I said, that was like the plan was for that to be a big goodbye, but we stayed in
Yeah.
communication and still saw each other a decent amount throughout 2023.
Okay.
Okay.
But I was clear that we weren't dating, and I had gone on a few dates. They didn't lead to anything serious, but that's kind of like it was clear that we were not exclusive at that point.
Exclusive. Got it. Okay. So tell us more. How did problems start to arise and what happened?
So problems started to arise first in the fall of 2023 was the first big bad thing. I don't think either of us had done anything up until around October. She ended up kissing somebody at a wedding, and I hadn't done anything physical with anybody else, despite the fact that I was the one saying that we were both single.
Yeah.
So that was obviously logically, it was fair for her to do that. You know, she was a single girl; she can do what she wants, but it was still very painful. And then I ended up kissing somebody shortly after kind of sort of out of revenge, basically, just to kind of get even, which was obviously immature, I'm aware. But we were able to kind of work past that. But I think after that point, she had built up some walls and she had told me as much like she didn't want to be as all in and committed to me if she just knew it was going to lead to heartbreak for both of us.
I mean,
Um,
that's a fair point.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking too, what's the goal here in maintaining that communication? We talk often about whether or not to stay friends after a breakup, and this is one of those reasons why is there's still some feelings for the two of you to feel hurt that you've done something with someone else, right? You can't say that that's a platonic relationship. So that's what makes it challenging.
Yeah, and I think this is where it started to get really complicated and toxic in some ways because we never stopped. I mean, we were texting and Snapchatting and talking on the phone I mean, every day essentially. So we were still staying very close, and it kind of became this weird limbo state.
Yeah, and that could happen because she's got one foot in with you, but one foot exploring other people. And the thing that I'm also wondering is when she kissed this other guy, she might have felt like, oh, wow, this is the first time I've kissed another guy. I can be attracted to other people again. I've heard a lot of people say that over the years.
Yeah, but I do know after that, like when she admitted to it happening, I mean, she broke down crying in tears, like full of guilt and regret. Like she did not feel good about that happening. I know she felt in a weird way, she felt responsible, like she had ruined things between us at that point because I was so upset, which wasn't fair. So I kind of tried to make her feel like that wasn't the case. And we worked past it and stayed again, it was like this 1 foot out, one foot in thing for a long time after that. It ended up lasting all throughout 2024. But the thing was, in the back half of 2024, so a whole year later, we started getting really close again. Like we were seeing each other more because we took another
Oh, so
trip.
you were seeing each other again physically.
Yes, I mean we were seeing each other physically periodically throughout the whole thing. I would say it was just more about once a month cadence at this
Okay.
point, because and not necessarily like we both had things going on in the other person's city. So like if I was traveling to her city for work or something, I would always see her in that case. So it was like if an opportunity arose, we would take the chance to see each other.
Okay. So
Hmm.
what happened? How did things go awry?
So after, like I said, in the back up to 2024, we started taking more trips together, seeing each other a lot. We went to Europe again, we went skiing again, and we just were seeing each other way more frequently than we had been. So she kind of started to feel all in again after the holidays, especially. We spent Christmas together too. And then in January of 2025, I went on a date with this girl and she found out and asked me about it. And I didn't want to lie. So I came clean.
How'd
And
she find out?
she just kind of had a suspicion, honestly. Like no one told her about it. She just asked me. She said she had a weird gut feeling and asked me if I was on a date. And I was like, yeah, I was. I think maybe she just sensed a subtle change in my behavior because, like I said, we were still talking and Snapchatting every day. So I guess she
Okay.
just had intuition. And I came clean. I told her I was, even though nothing happened. It was literally just a first date, like getting to know someone from a dating app, basically.
Sure.
Um, and then she said that was like a grenade blowing up in her face because she was all in and fully committed again at that point, and she thought I was on the same page. And
Wow.
emotionally, I was. I honestly, like looking back, very much regret going on that date. It was a huge mistake, and I
Just
don't think
talked
I
to
can see.
somebody yesterday who did something similar. something like, so like you don't even really care about the dating or these people that you're talking to, and yet it winds up blowing up something special with somebody that you really care about.
And it's hard
Hmm.
because it sounds like both of you are kind of like teeter-tottering around the idea of dating. She might not feel confident in bringing it up because of how things ended the first time. And it sounds like you're still hesitant because you're in a different place and you're thinking, well, how is this going to work practically? So, yeah, one foot in, one foot out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So what?
Yeah.
So she finds out now she's really upset. She's like, I thought we were repairing this. I thought we were gonna fix this. Now you're talking to other women and going on dates.
Yeah. So from that point on, I thought because that was so emotionally devastating, I thought it would be best if we kind of took a step back from the heavy conversations because like it was emotionally draining. I was like, okay, I see how much it's hurt you, and I don't want to do that again. So we were still talking and texting every day, but we weren't having confirmations about affirmations of our feelings. It was more just like casual friendship. Now, I did see her again in March. She came to my city for something, spent the weekend with me. Like,
Okay.
it's great, like it always is, but we were
Was
kind
it
of,
romantic?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
physical, intimate. And um, she, but we kind of agreed, like, this isn't the best time. Like this was just so heavy and hard that like, we're still not going to commit to each other. And then I had a physical injury not long after that. So I was in a cast and didn't leave my city for the next 6 to 8 weeks just because I didn't want to drive or do anything outside of the city. So I wasn't really going anywhere. And then fast forward to now it's June by the time I get my cast off and feel like I can start mobilizing again. I had a wedding in her city at the end of that month, and I went up for that and stayed with her that weekend. Again, it was romantic, it was blissful, it was awesome. Like the connection was same as it's always been, from my perspective at least. And then I left, and 2 weeks after that, I called her on a random Tuesday in July. I think it was July 22nd, and she answered and she was at a baseball game, which I thought was strange. And then I asked her the next morning if she had been on a date, and she said yes, and called me before work that morning and said, hey, I'm starting to see somebody, we can't talk anymore. And so tried to cut off the relationship at that point.
Did she answer the phone while at the baseball game or did she just text you?
No, she answered the phone, which was, and I asked her about that the next day, and she said she actually didn't mean to, so that was just
Okay, I see.
It's
Can
probably like
imagine
one of those impulsive things. Hang on, date. I
my
gotta
yeah,
other date
hello?
is calling.
yeah, yeah.
My
Wow.
situationship is calling. Can you give me a minute?
Oh
Pretty
man.
much, I guess.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she was upfront and honest with you. I mean, it's tough because then you really beat yourself up thinking, man, I was the one that didn't even want to be in this relationship.
And this is what's hard is because both of you were being non-committal to protect yourselves and you ended up getting more hurt than you would have been if you either committed or if you didn't commit.
Yeah.
And so it kind of makes you scratch your head. You're thinking, well, if I have, a part of this person, if we're still able to talk and see each other now and again and like pretend that things are casual, even though we both secretly have feelings, then we'll be okay. But that's not, how our emotions work. So I know that the two of you were trying to still hang on to each other, but I
Mhm.
can see that it's led to so much heartbreak.
Yep. Okay, so what happened then?
So after that, I mean, obviously that flipped my world on its head. I realized like how much it scared me, the thought of losing her. And I was like, well, this is someone that I had talked to and been in contact with every day for the last 3 years and, had a really strong bond with. And, essentially she was saying she needs to cut me off so she can pursue dating this other guy. And I
Yep.
tried to fight for it for at least probably a week and a half after. Like I tried to get her on the phone as much as possible, and she obliged for the most part, but she kept repeatedly saying like, "We're just going in circles. This isn't
Yeah,
changing."
it's like she doesn't want to hurt you. She cares about you, but she really wants she's made her like interest known with this
Exactly.
guy.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I got more information about her new situation. From the last time we talked, they weren't officially dating, but she said they had had serious conversations about it. So it was obvious that's where it was headed. And then 2 weeks after our last phone call or conversation, this would have been around August, like 14th to 20th, somewhere in that, like mid-August. She was going on a Europe trip with some friends, and I found out via Instagram through one of my friends that she was actually in Europe with this guy that she was now dating. So that was, I mean, a complete shock to my world because I had known she'd been planning the trip for some time. Like that was all happening while we were still in communication and good.
Yeah, so at that point, you can kind of get an idea of the seriousness. Not that always a trip means that it's serious. Some people end up booking flights left and right, but it sounds like it got to that point where she's pursuing this now.
Yeah, well, it was just so shocking because it had been at that time only 2 weeks since we last talked. And as far as I knew, like they hadn't even been officially dating. So I thought the fact that they were in Europe together was just completely mind-boggling. And I only found out because she posted him on her Instagram story and I was blocked from it. And I also found out that all of my friends, like 10 plus of my friends, had all been blocked from her Instagram story as well. Someone else that she just happened to not block sent it to me. And so that's how I saw it. And so that was just,
Painful way to hear it or find out. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, very weird. And then her Instagram behavior over the last few weeks since that happened has also been like very strange and messing with my head a lot. So it's been tough.
So at this point, she's pursuing this other guy and wanting to see where that goes.
Yeah, I mean, for all in like we've been in no contact since August or early August. It's been over a month now, and as far as I can tell, based on what she's posting on Instagram, they're officially dating. Their boyfriend and girlfriend, and I'm kind of not expecting to ever really hear from her again, which is hard to fathom.
Well,
Mhm.
we don't know that you're never going to hear from her again just because she's talking to somebody new. I mean, lots of times people talk to somebody new and they think it's going to go somewhere and it goes nowhere. So, I mean, just because she's excited about it or
Mhm.
it feels like it's going to go someplace, most relationships don't last. And, she barely knows this guy. It's only been a couple of months, right?
It's only been 1 month, and I'd like to think those things. And then this past Sunday, I also saw on Instagram she started posting him again. They were in our college town together, so she's already taken him to see that, and special memories that she has there. And I know how quickly she gets attached just based on our experiences together. So
But
I
just
feel
because
like
she attached to you that way doesn't mean she's going to attach to that guy that way or that he's going to attach to her in that way. So you're catastrophizing a bit.
Yeah. I would say the bigger picture thing here is the trust over time. I think the fact that you had dated people, she had dated people, that corrodes at each other's trust over a longer period of time. So I think that's kind of the bigger issue here. So have you talked to her since finding out that she's, now been to Europe and is pursuing this other relationship?
no, and I mean it took every bit of self control that I had to not send the screenshots of the pictures that she had posted to her and been like,
It's
just lash out at her essentially. Because she had told me on the phone, like I had brought up the idea of her posting someone else and how much that would hurt, and she was like, she scoffed and laughed at the idea of her posting another man. And then
Mm.
that 2 weeks later, lo and behold, it was already happening. So that just felt
a
horrible.
lot of people do unusual things like that after the breakup.
And why even have you on Instagram at that point,
Yeah.
just to block you from the stories?
Well, the blocking and unblocking behavior has been chaotic to say the least because all my friends had been blocked up until this past Sunday, and then she unblocked all my female friends from seeing the story, but not my male friends. And her best friend blocked me that same day.
She's
So I
putting a
can't.
lot of effort in the unblocking and the
Yeah,
blocking.
there's a lot of
Yes,
thought
it's been
behind this.
crazy.
Yeah, so that tells you on some level she's at least caring what information gets back to you,
Hmm.
right? So it shows on some level she cares. I mean, because why go through all of that to unblock, block? I'm gonna
Yeah,
unblock the girls, but not the
specific.
guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna block
Yeah.
people on Wednesdays, but Fridays they can see my story. Thursday mornings from 8 to 10, I'll allow them to look for 2 hours. It's like
You
who
need an
goes
Excel
through?
spreadsheet just to keep track.
Yeah.
Got AI scheduling and an unscheduling. AI assistant, can you help me? She's gonna go odds names, even names. It's
Oh
like
man, it's a lot, but you could see that there is that care there of how might he react if he sees this? Will he feel betrayed? All of these other things. And it's hard because the two of you never really set the boundaries or expectations of your relationship. So you're kind of both winging it. And then when something happens that hurts the other, then you want to lash out, but then you don't feel justified in it. Or
yeah.
maybe you do, and then that creates a larger rift. So, it seems like in terms of the two of you, she's now made a decision to pursue this other relationship. And just because somebody else is wishy-washy doesn't mean that you have to be. right? I think this is more of a lesson on being able to make a decision, stick with it, consistency, being able to be direct with someone, because I see a lot of maybe if you want to, then if you're down, I'm down.
Yeah.
If you want to talk, then we can talk, but if not, then okay, not. So,
And I think this is a good opportunity for look at how you were showing up in the relationship. And, it looks like you may have been the avoidant one in this relationship, and try and work through those things. Because honestly, maybe a lot of this could have been avoided had you just committed from the get-go. Because it doesn't sound like, I mean, it sounds like you really care about her and you weren't really interested in anybody else anyway. So why not just commit to it if you care about this person?
mhm.
And, you're going out with other women hardly at all, and you're not really even interested in them. So you might want to take a look at that. And if she comes back, which she could, there's no reason to think that she couldn't, just because she's dating somebody new right now. That way, what you're looking for and what you went through by not committing to her.
Yeah. And I would say at this point, no contact is absolutely the way to go. I
Yeah.
don't want you to be in a position where you're a placeholder, where you're just kind of this long distance situationship that she can date other guys and, try to find the one for her while she has you kind of on the back burner. That's not fair to you at
Yeah,
all.
definitely don't reach out to her. Let her do the reaching out. She'll reach out when she's ready.
Yeah, I'd love, and I basically gave her that option when I was begging and pleading and chasing during the whole breakup, if that's what you want to call it, process. Because I was like, you fought for the relationship for so long, like now it's my turn. And but she even acknowledged, she was like, I can't just choose someone else over you and then come running back to you at some point. You'll always feel like that's yeah, you're second best, and that's not fair to you. So from all indications, the conversations that we've had, she's moved on and letting go, and
Well, that's what she's going to do at this point, because she's not going to
Mhm.
be trying to pursue something with somebody new, but lead you on at the same time. That's just not what people usually do. They're going to,
yeah,
she's going to focus on this thing that she's excited about and thinks is going to be so great and so wonderful. Now, most of the time it doesn't last, but in the meantime, you don't want to interfere with that. It's only going to annoy her or frustrate her, or, in the moment, it's kind of like, oh God, he's reaching out to me again. It makes her feel guilty or bad.
Yeah. You want to be able to make her decision on this, and really see, okay, will she see it through with that person? Maybe, maybe not. Will I be in the back of her mind? Will things now feel different that this is the first time in how long that the two of you will actually have space from each other? So I don't see it as a negative thing necessarily that she's making this decision. I think it makes your decision a lot clearer.
Yeah.
certainly.
Uh, Unfortunately, a lot of times we have to lose somebody before we really realize how much we value them or care about them. It's a very painful wake-up call for a lot of us.
Mm,
So this is a good opportunity for you to look at yourself, how you're showing up, how you want to show up, and if she comes back, the relationship you want to create, and the challenges that you're going to face with this still being long distance.
yeah. I think some of the challenges you may face would be rebuilding that trust. I think for her, she needs to trust, okay, if I'm going to give him, if I'm, going to give him another chance, then I want to know that he would be serious and consistent and make the effort to come see me and not have, work interfere so much in our relationship to where we can't have one or location or whatever it might be.
But give it time. These things often turn around, and I don't think it's going to be the last time you hear from her for sure. When that'll be, it's too early to say, but you know, I would say it'll be at least a couple more months. But clearly, she still cares about you because she's going through all the effort of unblocking and blocking all these different
Mhm.
people, which you simply would not do if you didn't care about the person.
Yeah. And I would encourage you to kind of go a little bit deeper with yourself emotionally here too. I know that you've said part of it was fear because it was long distance and you just weren't sure of how this would go. I would be exploring more of that avoidant attachment if you're seeing that come up in you. I think that's kind of what this breakup is showing you here.
But think about everything. We really appreciate you coming on here and
Mhm.
sharing your story with us. We know that you're stressed out and anxious and hurting over this, which is very normal when you're in a situation like
Mhm.
this.
Yeah, it's definitely been difficult, but it's certainly motivating, like you guys have talked about. I mean, I've already started therapy and I've now recognized my attachment issues and how it caused, like I'm fully aware of how it caused the issues in our relationship. So yeah, I mean, whether it be her or the next one, I don't want it to happen again.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for calling up and sharing everything with us.
Of course, yeah, appreciate you guys having me on.
We appreciate you sharing.